Welcome to The Bottom Line Up Front, the podcast that cuts through the noise to deliver distilled insights from today's most important technical webinars, presentations, and demonstrations. Designed for federal and military IT leaders, each episode breaks down complex technologies into mission-ready takeaways so you get the key points fast. Whether it's cybersecurity, cloud architecture, or emerging defense technologies, we highlight what matters most and how trusted integrators like ATP Gov can help implement and operationalize these solutions across your agency or command. No fluff, no filler, just the bottom line up front. Today, we're breaking down how Dynatrace Workflows and the Dynatrace App Engine can reduce alert fatigue, accelerate remediation, and bake quality and security into your software delivery without breaking compliance or mission readiness. If you operate mission systems, you know the pain: thousands of alerts, unclear root causes, long mean time to recover, and the constant pressure of zero trust RMF and FedRAMP compliance. The webinar we attended had two parts. First off was Dynatrace Workflows for automation and remediation. Think ServiceNow and Jira integration, AWS and Ansible hooks, and prompt-to-human summaries for faster decisions. And the second part focused on Dynatrace App Engine for building custom apps and controls on top of Grail data, quality gates, security gates, SLO-driven release validation, and streamlined DevSecOps. So let's translate all this into concrete mission outcomes. First off, we have to talk about what are workflows. You have to think of a workflow as a policy-driven automation that kicks in when a problem occurs on a schedule or on an on-demand trigger. In the case of Dynatrace, they leverage their Davis AI to create context around the entity, the root cause, and the severity. It runs its proprietary DQL queries to enrich the data and then takes action with built-in tasks or custom API calls. In a mission environment, automation reduces the mean time to respond. It contains impact and enforces repeatable playbooks aligned with governance. It also helps with operational auditability, and every step is logged and traceable in the Dynatrace system. So here's some concrete actions you can take in a Dynatrace workflow. You can create or update incidents in ServiceNow or Jira using correlation IDs to avoid ticket duplication. You can execute remediation steps via Ansible, AWS SSM runbooks, or GitHub Actions, from restarting processes to adjusting container limits. You also get human-friendly summaries. Using prompt actions, you can convert raw event data into readable incident briefs for Tier 1 and Tier 2 operators. You can monitor execution health. You can filter on failed runs, track trends, and use the execution to monitor audit outcomes. Some key examples that were given during the webinar focused on CPU saturation, which then triggered a workflow that performed the following steps. It enriched the context using the DQL query language. It checked ownership and routes to the right ServiceNow and Jira queues. It prevented chaos by updating the existing incident as the problem evolved. It launched remediation through Ansible by killing an offending process and requested that GitHub take action raising the container limits. And finally, it verified the fix. In the case of an unresolved fix, Dynatrace would have escalated the problem to a human with a clear summary. The end result was 80% reduction in manual remediation effort when escalation happened. Operators can have confidence that the first 5 to 10 steps have already been attempted by the Dynatrace system before having to get involved. This is all about reducing alert noise to actionable incidents, because as we know, alert fatigue kills situational awareness. In the Dynatrace approach, Davis AI correlates events so a problem evolves without generating duplicate tickets. The workflow checks for existing incidents by event ID and updates them with new root cause details. That's how one customer was able to drop from 70,000 alerts to 7 that actually mattered. So what's the mission impact there? Well, first of all, clarity. Operators can focus on true incidents with faster engagement and validated context, and it also provides better compliance in the sense that there are better audit trails and accountability for every action taken. Now we're going to shift gears by shifting left with Dynatrace App Engine and talk about quality and security gates. So what is Dynatrace App Engine? It's a platform for building React-based applications and serverless functions directly from inside Dynatrace. Apps leverage Dynatrace's Grail data, SDKs, and the Strato design system to deliver tailored capabilities without spinning up separate infrastructure. So why does this matter? Custom controls enforce SLO-based quality gates and security gates across your pipeline. You now create policy as code, keeping you aligned with RMF and NIST guidance, and this supports continuous ATO strategies. Not only that, it gives you a single pane of governance. Therefore, managers can see test results, SLOs, and vulnerability exposure on one page. Part of the webinar gave us a demo on these quality gates in practice. They were triggered by a build or deployment event, for example, a GitHub pipeline. Dynatrace was able to run synthetic tests and evaluate the SLOs like CPU usage, error rate, and latency. And then there was a fast fail. The pipeline halted if SLOs weren't met. Therefore, no promotion to staging or production. We also got to see security gates in practice. We were able to see how to evaluate open vulnerabilities, but critically whether they are exposed or reachable in our runtime. If vulnerabilities are not exploited in the environment, a update or release or patch may proceed if that code base is reachable and not being blocked by some other system. Outcomes then are pushed back to Jira and ServiceNow for unified tracking. So what that means is now we have one consolidated dashboard showing quality and security status and no more hunting across 10 different tools. And we have clear waiting for approval states for builds that pass both the quality and security gates. Let's connect the dots on these Dynatrace implementations to your compliance and mission assurance mandates. With respect to Zero Trust, Dynatrace automations run with least privilege via service identities, and ownership routing ensures the right teams get the right actions at the right time. Considering RMF and NIST 853, Dynatrace's repeatable, audible workflows provide the artifacts you need for controls around incident response, configuration management, risk assessment, and system integrity. When considering FedRAMP and ATO statuses, Dynatrace's centralized logging of automation activities and enforcement of policy gates supports continuous monitoring and continuous ATO efforts. Thinking about operational resilience, the ability for Dynatrace to provide verified remediation steps and exposure-aware security gates reduces the likelihood and impact of incidents in production. After reviewing all this information, we were able to put together some practical quick wins if you were thinking about deploying Dynatrace in your ecosystem. If you want to gain momentum in your first 30 to 60 days with the product, start small. Look at one high-volume incident pattern, like the example we saw, CPU saturation. Automate the first 5 steps. Dynatrace can create context enrichment. It can then update tickets. It can execute runbooks. It can verify everything that has occurred, and then it can escalate when necessary. Stand up a quality gate. Choose 3 SLOs that most correlate to your mission impact. Block promotions if they fail. Then add a security gate. Evaluate exposure and reachability, not just counts. Maintain a decision log. And then finally, measure your outcomes. Look at the mean time to respond reduction rates, alert reduction, and the change in failure rate. Set up customized reports from within Dynatrace to provide to your leadership. So what's the bottom line up front? Use Dynatrace Workflows and its built-in Davis AI to trigger on problems, enrich context, open and update tickets in ServiceNow or Jira, execute runbooks like Ansible, AWS SSM, and GitHub Actions, and verify remediation before you escalate to humans. Slash the alert noise. Normalize and correlate signals to reduce alert storms. You can shift left safely. Use Dynatrace App Engine with quality gates and security gates tied to SLOs so bad builds never advance in your pipeline, and protect your production by design. And finally, align all these tools with your Zero Trust principles and RMF and FedRAMP requirements, integrating into your existing ServiceNow, Jira, and CI/CD toolchains for mission resilience. So if you're ready to explore how automation and custom apps can harden your operations and speed your response, we can help you design and implement a secure integration plan, or reach out for a Dynatrace workshop or demo tailored to your environment and mandates. Be sure to reach out to ATP Gov today at www.atpgov.com or email info@atpgov.com, or check us out on social media on LinkedIn. Thanks for listening, and be sure to subscribe to The Bottom Line up front wherever you get your podcasts, and stay tuned for more distilled insights from the front lines of tech and national security. So until next time, stay secure, stay mission ready.